Damn, man, those people lucky. I never even visited the Capitol building. They got to just go in and go in all the places they ain't supposed to go to.
Touch all the things, put their balls on Nancy Pelosi's computer.
Yeah, and take a dump and smear it. God damn, man. Y'all white people weird.
Did people actually do that? Because I saw like one mention of that, but I feel like I would have heard a lot more.
Yeah, they said they smeared feces. Somebody smeared feces. I just like, I could never. I don't even want, if I was in the woods, I don't even like shit, wouldn't even want shit out there. It was like, good God, even if I hate someone, I never think to like, I'm just gonna take a dump right now.
Never had to poop that bad then, Dominic. Sometimes it's just necessity, and then you're like, oh, while I'm here, let me just smear this on something.
That's what I think is like, did you, how does this work? Like, you got this build up a lot of fiber, like I'm just gonna not use the bathroom today because I'm gonna take a shit down. Oh, y'all got power to shit on command? Because I can't do that.
Yeah, it's just pull their pants down in the middle of the crowd. Like, excuse me. Can you hold my hand so I don't have to like sit on the floor? Hello, gamers, and welcome to episode 312 of the Super Ultra Podcast Arcade. I'm one of your hosts, Daniel Nicholson, and with me is my co-host, Dominic Stallworth. What's going on this week, Dominic?
What's going on this week? I mean, there's no avoiding talking about this, about what happened this week. So I'm just going to come out and just talk about it. The Washington football team is going to the playoffs, baby. Woo!
How the hell did that happen, Dominic?
How did that happen? COVID happened. That's how that happened. It's like,
you shall be the kings of COVID.
Injuries happen. Things of that nature. Now, by the time you hear this podcast, I'm either very, very happy or very, very sad because they either have lost their playoff game or they won. Even though I'm not going to be too sad because I didn't expect them to go to the playoffs this year.
Right.
I also didn't expect the whole NFC East just to suck this year either. But we came out the winners. We came out on top. So there you go. Now, I will say this. I think this feels like, for me, because I have no expectations for this team, it feels like if we are going to the Super Bowl. So it's like we're going right now. If we beat Tampa Bay, that is like Super Bowl for me. I want a T-shirt saying we're champions and everything. I don't give a fuck about everything else after that. Because I'm like, we're not going to go win or anything. Everything else is like a consolation prize.
Yeah.
It's like, everything else is everything else is like icing on top of the cake. Like, it's just more icing. More toppings or something like that. More stuff on the cake. Because if we somehow beat Tampa Bay.
You're going to beat Tom Brady.
Beat Tom Brady, the greatest quarterback in the history of football, is what I'm forced to be said. I'm forced to say. I'm like, goodness gracious, man. Like, and with the quarterback with one leg, basically. Who we got? Like, I haven't looked at any news, so I'm assuming he's still starting. I don't know if they're gonna put in Heineke or Henke. I forgot his name. Mm-hmm. This guy we had on, I think, a practice squad or whatever. So I don't know, but if we beat them, yeah, that's like a Super Bowl win for me. That is like, oh man, this is so great. What a great year! It's like, what a great fucking year. But it's been a good year for Washington football. The better like the record is, we 7-9 going to the playoffs, going to host a playoff game, even though it's not a big deal hosting because we have no fans. So It's not like it's, oh yeah, you got home field advantage. I don't know. It doesn't feel the same. But it's a little bit better because Tampa Bay would have had some fans. Because Tampa Bay, they're allowed to have a certain amount of fans in the stadium, which was like that for, I think, all the Florida had that.
And that makes sense. Florida's been more open than a lot of places.
Yeah. So I guess the only advantage is that, hey, it's actually neutral field.
Right.
So the only thing I can hope for in this game is the only way we can win. I don't know. Like, our defense just play their asses off, which they have done most of the season. But can they cause some turnovers to really put our offense in really great positions? Because I don't know if our offense can move. Mm-hmm. Like, that game against the Eagles was awful. And the Eagles just fucking literally tanking, like taking their quarterback out in the end of the third quarter, going to the fourth quarter. That was awful. Like, people are really upset about that because you don't obviously tank. You don't do an obvious tank.
Right.
You either bench, like, you don't tank in the middle of a game. In the middle of a game where you have a chance to win it, you don't tank. Like, I never seen that before. I've seen teams where they take out players and they just bench everybody. Now, the Eagles did bench people, but they were still doing okay because Washington wasn't going away with it.
Yeah.
And the guy who scored all their points was their QB, Jalen Hurts, which they don't really know if he's going to be a starter or not. I mean, he's a starter. He's the best they got now. But then they take him out when they're down by 3 points and put in, what is his name? Nate Sutsfield. A guy who's never really started. He was on the Washington team's practice squad, I believe.
Okay.
And he's been around the Eagles organization for a while. He's a cool guy. He's a nice guy from what I heard. And, like, that's why he really stays around, because he's a good guy and everything.
Good
people
presence
enjoy
in the
him.
locker room.
Exactly. That's what some people really survive. The presence in the locker room really helps. But I think they just ruined him by doing that. By just showing him and just looking really bad for a whole quarter and being part of this story of tanking. Mm-hmm. It's like, yo, what are you doing? You don't do that. If you have a chance to win, you don't tank in the middle. You should have started. If you want to give him time, they say, oh, we wanted to give him some time. I was like, you don't choose now to do it.
This is the worst time.
Or you should have started his ass. If you really wanted to lose, you should have started him. You should have started from the beginning. You don't do it now. And so, like, it was the Eagles organization. It's just so good to see another organization looking worse than us right now.
So blatantly inept.
Yeah, it's just so good to see that. That's really what it is. I mean, I wish that on no organization, but it's like, good, it's not us they're really talking about. Jesus.
Yeah.
But yeah. So we're playing Tampa Bay. Hope we win. You have the Ravens are playing the Titans again. The Titans had their number for the last 2 years.
Yeah.
Like the playoffs last year, the regular season this year. I'm rooting for the Ravens, though, because I'm rooting for Lamar Jackson to do well. So I'm rooting for them. I have my doubts, so they'll win. But I hope they do. What else you got? You have that's really the only games I want to talk about. This is the games I'm into. Because Green Bay, they got a bye.
Okay.
That's my old man's favorite team.
Yeah.
They have a bye, though, so they're just waiting to see who they'll play. You have KC's the favorite to win it all. But, I mean, they could lose against... Only teams I can really see beating them is the Bills, maybe. But I have KC going. I just don't know who's going to go for the NFC. Mm-hmm. I'm not totally sold on Green Bay, like automatically going. I think it's really up for grabs in the NFC, except for the Washington team, because I think we're just too hurt and banged up. We're not that great a team. Come on, we're 7-9. So, or the Bears. I don't think it's going to be Washington and the Bears going on the NFC. But everybody else, I think, is up for grabs. But it should be a good playoffs. It should be a good playoffs, though. Nice. I'm hoping it'll be a good playoffs. Yeah, I'm just hoping it's a good game. If Washington put at least a good game, it's just not one-sided. Mm-hmm. I'm happy. But like I said, you're going to be hearing this after the game. So I'm either very happy or upset or whatever. So this is all the past.
Yeah.
So I hope future Dominic is happy. I hope you're happy, future Dominic. Hope the Washington team won. All right. So you got anything you want to say? Oh yes. You might as well get this. What really we have to talk about. What we won't have to talk about. But we should. I mean, because everybody's talking about it. Everybody's talking about it. Of what happened on Wednesday at the Capitol.
Yeah.
Of the protests, quote unquote.
Protests turned siege of the Capitol.
To terrorists, I believe are terrorist acts.
100%.
Because I think a lot these people wanted this to be done. They planned for this to happen. I mean, you saw it from what the weapons or the equipment that people had.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, why would you go with zip ties? Why would a regular citizen need zip ties?
Yeah, zip tie handcuffs.
Yeah.
I know a lot of these people basically like to cosplay and put on their body armor and shit and just act like they're tough guys. But yeah, you don't get to carry around those accessories and then not have us point out what you would then do with those accessories if given the chance. So.
Yeah, it was awful. And also the inaptitude of the government themselves, though, for knowing that these people were coming.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you knew that this was going to happen. But you didn't have a strong police presence or military presence or whatever to protect the area.
And that's when you get into the conspiracy theories that, like, I might be more willing to believe because, like, I don't know if it's incompetence or what, but, like, even after this stuff started happening and then it was like Donald Trump's like, I'm calling in the National Guard. And then, like, but his comms team's like, oh, no, that hasn't happened. That's not a thing. And, like, the Pentagon's, like, rejecting, calls for the National Guard to be deployed or something like that. And you're getting people from Virginia's state National Guard and Maryland and stuff. And it's like, what is happening here? Like, why we already know that the president's words are inciting these acts, but, like, is there something larger to it that's happening here? I mean, you and I talked about it a little bit, but, like, honestly, part of it, I think, is just that a lot of the people who would protect the Capitol may see themselves, in that group. They might look at those people and go, oh, yeah, I support them. I mean, there's even videos of one dude as they're, like, literally walking into the Capitol. There's, like, a police officer just standing there, arms behind his back, going, like, I don't like it, but I respect it. And it's like, that's not how this works. You can respect that while they're outside. That's fine. I'm with you there. Like, protesting is fine, but they're literally invading the Capitol, carrying in Confederate flags and shit. Like, that's unacceptable.
Yeah, this is ugly. Like, this is ugly. And for the people saying, like, we're better than this, no, it's not. This has been here all the time.
I think I saw somebody's tweet that I really liked, which was like, every 2 weeks we say we're better than this. And it's like, it kind of proves that we're not, right? Like, let's start saying we could be better than this because, we should be better than this. But we're definitely not better than this currently. Otherwise, it wouldn't continue to happen.
They try to compare to other countries. Like, we're not Syria. We're not. That's like, what? You trying to downplay? You downplaying these other countries because saying, like, oh, we are so great. It's like, no, we have our problems too. It can happen here. All that shit, it can happen here too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, this was awful. And I don't know. And I mean, it goes to the fact, like, like you said, because the police force and stuff probably saw us as of this, it's probably, like, hundreds of people were probably off-duty cops or something in that crowd, like, of some area. It speaks to, like, how you get that far. Like, they were guarding that Capitol building, all those, like, buildings, Capitol buildings and stuff, hard when Black Lives Matter was doing stuff. But now all of a sudden it's very laxed
Donald Trump wanted it, like minimum 10 years in prison if you did anything to a building. And then this week he's like, we love you guys, go home. Like that's the extent of what you're going to hear. Like,
yeah, that's the most he did. He said go home, but everything was so like, hey,
it was always like,
it's like, remember
this
the cop,
election is
like,
fraud and illegitimate, but do something peaceful or something, like tacked on at the end. Like somebody else had to come in and like, let me revise this tweet real quick before you send it out.
Like you say, hey, the cops are like, remember the cops are on our side or something. Mm-hmm. No, I believe in you and something like that. I believe in stuff. It's like I don't.
Yeah.
So I don't expect that for Trump. I expect that from Trump. I don't expect him to be. He's going to really tell these guys, hey, you need to stop doing this. Like he's go really hard against them. I don't expect that.
Which is I don't
it's
know.
Already done.
It seems weird to me because like a lot of these people, and that's what like the Republican Party seems to fear now, is that they are Trump loyalists. But does that mean that they're only Trump loyalists because he's saying the things they want to hear? Or are they actually, would they follow him off a cliff, basically? Like if he said, go home, don't do this shit, like would they just be like, okay, yeah, he's got a point. He's making a point. We should stop this. Or would they turn on him and be like, oh, he's one of them too. He didn't train the swamp. I saw it.
No. They probably convinced themselves that he was forced to say this. He's just saying this. He doesn't really want us to do this. To stop.
You're probably right there. I mean, I told you like the statement that he put out most recently, which was a video of him basically saying like, oh, I accept the election result, blah, blah, blah. Like it almost sounded like he had a gun to his head and should have been holding a newspaper. Like he didn't believe in the words he was saying one bit. And I mean, we were correct when we said it last week. He has now officially said that he's not going to the inauguration. So,
darn it! And Clyburn had a seat for him too.
Yeah,
he had a nice chair for him.
That does make me a little more concerned now thinking about it because he's like, oh yeah, I'm not going because it's going to be a fucking massacre.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Oh,
I'm not going. Yeah.
This country's in real bad shape, Dominic, and the only way to make it the country that people think it is to face some very harsh realities that I think a lot of people are not willing to face because right now most of these things don't really affect us, Yeah,
that's the problem. I think because it doesn't affect a lot of people. So yeah, you have this idea of what this country is, but that's not the truth. The thing is, this could have been like I was telling you. I listened to this woman who does this podcast, Yvette Carnell, Breaking Brown, and like she was saying, this should have been nipped in the bud back in the Civil War.
Absolutely.
Like you let your traitors gain power. Mm-hmm. Like you let them stay in power. Basically,
you let them dictate terms.
Yeah. So. You got these and then did the terms, and then you let them so they can sit there and believe in like, hey, like we lost this war, but it was a righteous war. Like it was a righteous thing they did, and like cause you let them fly that flag for years
and continue to.
Is there any state? I don't know, because some states they took it down, but I know people are still allowed to have it out, but. Are there still places? There probably are. There are still places where the flag can still be hung on government buildings, like Alabama. Is it still there? I know it's Georgia. They took it down, but how about like Alabama or something?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Or Mississippi? I'm not sure. I'm just saying that's ridiculous.
100%.
It's ridiculous that you could. Like they committed treason, but you let them to. Live it. It just doesn't make sense. Doesn't make sense. It's not. You can't say like there's good people on both sides. No. I can say exactly the North was great either. I mean they're racist too, but no. Like, but this based on this country, they traded on you. Like they wanted to succeed. So why does it? Yeah, you didn't nip it in the bud, man. You let it fester for generations, for some generations.
Yep. And here we are, still sporting that flag, and having people literally attack our capital in the name of it.
Yeah. Yeah, that was crazy. I think I was in the doctor's office when I saw that. I was looking at the TV, and I was like, "What the hell?" I mean, I saw at first I was just looking. I was thinking it's just to still the protest. So okay, just out there protesting, but they say, "Oh, they are storming the Capitol building, like now or something like that." It's like, holy shit! I said, "How they get?" That's a lot of people asking in there. So how they even get in there?
Yeah, how they get?
Like,
anywhere
how they even
close?
get in there? Yeah. Like, what the hell happened? Like, what? This is like, how they get in the freaking building like that? Like, where are the guards at?
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh, yeah, they are the guards.
Standing in formation over there. Just letting it happen.
Like, stop it. Stop.
Yeah.
You can't do this. Go away.
If they even did that. I mean, the audacity of these people to do it and do it without masks, like full on. Just these people are out there, names, faces. You and I were talking about it. What is it? The Virginia state legislation guy or whatever. It's just like, this is my full name, and I just got into the Capitol.
Yeah. Good God. Oh yeah, and when they say a mask, we ain't talking about like COVID masks.
Yeah, not
we
even
talking
that.
about like they ain't trying to hide their faces.
Yeah.
They ain't trying to hide their faces at all.
Nope.
They want you to know it's them. And they proud.
Mm-hmm. Somehow this country has gotten, somehow. I mean, we just kind of talked about it, but like, this country has been co-opted. Patriotism for this country has been co-opted by the people who are the descendants of the traitors of this country.
That's what it is when we talk about the kneel downs and stuff with Kaepernick, disrespecting the flag. It's mostly those people who are saying that who are really against it. Now there's some who aren't. Those people who are against it too, for their reasons. I mean, I don't believe like their reasons either. Yeah. But it's like those people who will really be strong that this is America, this is our country, how you disrespect us. It's mostly those guys.
Meanwhile, they've got a fucking Confederate flag hanging off their flagpole.
I think, you got a Confederate flag, aren't you disrespecting the country too? But I guess they don't see it that way. They see it that no. Because they're still their country. It's almost like the woman Yvette said. It's like they won the war, really. It's like they didn't really lose. That wasn't really a loss, particularly.
Yeah. They had to give up slavery. Weird. They still benefited.
Yeah,
they still got paid for the. We conceded to them in every other way, shape, and form outside of murdering most of them because. Yeah, we just let them go back to their normal lives. You can't have slaves now, but here's some money to replace that. So we're,
to help you keep staying on your feet.
Obviously, like Sherman scorched the earth for quite a bit down there in the South, but like in the grand scheme of things, hindsight is 20/20 here. They didn't make out too bad overall.
For losers.
For treasonous losers.
Treason, and everything, For losing. You really didn't. Now, a lot of this, you're going to say, a lot of those people, they weren't slave owners. You're right. They weren't. They were just the soldiers who were being used. But seem like they don't realize that.
Yeah. Which is why I think that's probably why they try and make it even more of a noble thing, right? Is like, we were fighting for states' rights. We didn't own slaves. It's like, yeah, but the people that you were fighting for and that fomented all of this to begin with and you were fighting for them. And it's okay to admit sometimes when you were wrong.
Yeah.
You can join us on the right side of history. It's not that hard.
Yeah, it's been a fucked up weekend, man. All I'm saying, we were trying to put 2020 behind us, but
yeah,
I guess we didn't. We don't know the future because we don't. I guess you know what, the grass is always green on the other side, Daniel. Right?
Absolutely.
You don't know. But shit, we'll see how time will go.
Yeah,
we'll see.
Well, I
hope for the best. I hope for the best, of course.
To prepare ourselves for the inauguration. So,
yeah.
See how that goes.
All right. Anything else you want to say on this topic?
No, I think I've said
the day
my
that
piece.
lived with infamy.
Another one, yeah.
Another one.
Another day that'll live.
How many of
in
these
infamy.
days we got since I've been born? I thought our time was boring, Daniel, when I was young.
Yeah.
Like, hey, we ain't got a lot of stuff. Everything we talk about is the past. Not really happening in my time. Now all this shit's happening, all just coming at once. Like, oh God, just let it stop.
We're going to have a large section in the history books, Dominic. Yeah.
Good God, all this stuff happening.
Global pandemic, attempted coup attempts,
and then you got before that was school shootings.
Yeah.
I guess hey, that's a plus because
Here's
schools
the
aren't
hoping
open.
That
really.
actually does become history. But good luck with that.
Schools aren't open, so we don't have that happening.
Yeah.
That's the only reason.
It's disgusting.
All right. So let's get into some lighter news, Daniel.
All right.
Well, somewhat lighter news for what you've been watching. I mean, this is so great.
In my defense, I watched this before Wednesday, Dominic.
Oh, okay.
So I watched Class Action Park on HBO Max. It's a documentary about Action Park up in New Jersey, which was basically a unbridled, lawless theme park that existed and was the result of many deaths, or resulted in many deaths, rather. Something that, weirdly enough, the beginning of this documentary doesn't really kind of touch on. There's a lot of fun in this. Like the first 2/3 of this movie are very much about like, oh, here's how it was when, teenagers ran this theme park, basically, because like everybody in charge was like 15 and under. And very much like, oh, I have, memories of it being like a very dangerous place, but that was part of what was cool about it. But they do eventually get to the, hey, people would die in their tide pools and some of these rides. There was a story of a man that flew off one of the like slalom rides, basically, and landed on some rocks, and he passed away. And it's just like the way that it sounded like the park owner basically like strong-armed the city and the state to just continue to operate is just, corruption on a level that we haven't seen until, recently, I guess. Or just, on an everyday basis, honestly, behind the scenes, we just don't know about.
It's like a real life, like owner of Itchy and Scratchy Land or something.
I mean, basically, like, had this guy had the access to some fucking robots, I'm sure that shit would have happened too. It's a good documentary, though. It is maybe a little more lighthearted for the subject than I would have expected, but it's entertaining. And is also informative. I could see a different documentary coming out about this with a much more serious tone being interesting as well. But yeah, I thought it was all right. That's really all I've watched though this week.
Okay, so I just remembered I did watch the Transformers. They have their part 2 because like a trilogy, and they had their part 2 come up because the other one ended with Prime and some Autobots going to Earth, or like taking the space bridge and going to Earth. And I watched the first episode. It doesn't really deal with Prime. It deals with the fallout of him gone, because they think he's dead.
Oh, interesting.
They don't know if he made it, like made it through. This deals with Megatron, like he's kind of taking over, but they're suffering because they're losing a lot. They don't have enough power for Cybertron. Cybertron is dying, and he's cutting off power in certain sectors. And he doesn't like doing it because he went to one sector. These robots were all just mostly incapacitated, but they were still working. And he felt bad, but they had to turn power off to keep Cybertron going. So, and Shockwave has, you know about Shockwave, that he doesn't have any emotions. Like, he actually got rid of his emotional chip so he can go through, he could do the hard decision. I mean, he can make decisions and not feel any remorse. Because he kept this pestering Megatron on, like, you gotta do this, and say, you wait. You don't do it. You wait a minute. It sounds like that. I'm decided. I'll make my decision. And then Megatron mentioned, like, you're so lucky that you have no emotions, that you didn't have to deal with this. He said, hey, it makes me function better. So it deals with this woman robot is like leading the Autobots now. The few Autobots that are left. I forgot. I don't remember her name. But yeah, so I guess I'm thinking the next episode we're going to find out what happened to Optimus and Bumblebee and all the other guys that didn't make it. Jetfire is still on Cybertron. He's the guy who turned Predacon, who was Predacon and turned Autobot. And he's like the only flyer they got. Which that's just always weird. It's like, darn, Autobots don't have no flying robots except for all I knew was Jetfire.
Yeah.
All I knew was Jet. But well, actually, technically, in the old cartoon, they all flew. They just, like, if they're in robot mode, they just lift their hands up and fly.
Yeah.
It was like, what? Y'all can just fly. Okay. But now they made it, I think it's been more canon now that, you know what, flyers only can fly, and, you know, rollies only can roll. I made up rollies. I made up rollies. I just made that up. But yeah. And also, you know, because Megatron's not a gun. He's a tank in this. He's not a gun. Like, because that was just so weird that they made him just a gun. That was weird. But yeah, but it's still a good show. It's still a good show. It still has that seriousness to it, man. Like, it is. They really just went like, hey, this ain't gonna be no. I don't know any kind of jokes. I don't think I laughed. Well, I don't think I laughed at things why you shouldn't be laughing at.
Yeah,
like a robot, like on a cane or something. I thought that was pretty funny.
Oh,
a robot has to have a cane. That's weird. But actually, they have a cane on like a stick, or what did he have? He was like limping. It's like a robot limping. Yeah, it's just weird. It looks funny. It's like, you just fix yourself up.
I was gonna say,
just get like a new leg.
What's going on here?
It's like, can you just get like a new leg, like some robot that's dead? You can take their leg and just put it on. But it's anyway. I still like it so far. I mean, it's just the first episode, but so far it's still intriguing.
Yeah.
Other than that, I think that's it. That's all I watched. So I guess we get into some video games. We get to what we were playing. You want to go first?
Yeah.
Or you want me to go first?
I can go first. I'll talk about Control a little bit, and then you can talk about yours, and then we'll talk about the other one.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm still trucking through Control. Now,
I thought you were going to say you've completed.
No. I am getting further into the story stuff now. I met kind of the big character that you were looking for throughout the game. So I'm not entirely sure how much more is left. This, and I think it's just a trend with games nowadays, but this game is like one of those games where it's like, I'm competing for your time. I want to be the only game that you are playing. Cause like, I think we talked about it earlier, but like it has those randomly generated things where it's like, oh, go to this area and clear out the hiss and do that. And there's just like so much involved in this game that I could be doing, but I'm just to the point now where I'm like, okay, I'm just trying to get through to the end. And it's not that I'm not liking the game or enjoying it. It's just like there are so many other games out there that I want to play. And I think if I was younger and had more time than money, I would greatly appreciate that fact that they're, giving me a ton of content. But now I'm just like to the point where it's like, if your game's a single player game that's over 10 hours, you're maybe pushing it for me. Like there's too much here. But yeah, I'm still liking it. I finally did upgrade and get like a different style gun. So I got like I think it's the spinner or whatever it is. It's more like an automatic rifle kind of thing. And that's cool. What other powers did I get? I got the ability to levitate now, so I'm just like flying all over the place basically. It's real crazy how weird this game gets. And we've talked about it before, but like from the marketing, they never really went hard on a lot of stuff. It was very much just like her in this kind of weird, creepy building with a gun. And maybe you would see kind of like the melee attack that she does where she kind of pushes stuff back. But this game does get really weird in some ways that I wasn't really expecting until I saw a little more of it from some of the game outlets. But it's very cool. I still like it. Still just kind of, going through it kind of at a slow pace. I'll usually play like somewhere between like 3-4 hours a week mostly, which I think, is part of the problem of me not being done with it yet. But yeah, I like it. So.
Oh, that's cool. That's good. That's good.
What have you been playing?
So I guess I get into what games I've been playing. I'm playing some Civ 6. I canceled the one I was doing because I was losing. At least I think I was losing. It's just that it seems, and then I never had enough money to really build an army or anything. So I was not going to be taking over anything. And people used to complain about me saying, "Oh, you have no army like other the other leaders." And I'm like, "Why do you care?"
Like this guy's weak over here.
Yeah, especially Julius Caesar. Well, no, not Julius Caesar, but the guy who I think took his place.
No, like Mark Anthony or something, maybe.
It might be Mark Anthony.
I can't think of any. I can't think of too many leaders.
So I just stopped it, and I started a new one where who am I playing as? Because I was a Chinese guy in the last one, so it's basically China. I am playing as a Greek guy. I mean, that was Rome. I'm sorry. Mark Antony, Rome. I said Greece. Now I'm playing as a Greek guy who is, I don't know, Socrates or it's something T's. Something T's. It's early on. It's early on. So it's not really much happening. The only people I've met is the Japanese and the Polish people. And I think I met one other group. I just literally met them, so I don't remember who they were. I think for Poland, I think it was like a woman who was like the leader. But yeah, so far it's going on well. I think I have like 3 cities. I'm building an army. I'm really focusing a little bit more on military than anything, and building up more cities, really expanding.
Yeah.
Because I think I want to go for that. I mean, I might not go for the military win, but just have that option. That option, like, hey, you fuck with me. I will take you over.
I was going to say, don't make me put you down.
But you know what? This is cross-play also. So, I mean, cross-save, I should say.
I forgot it does that.
That I'm really thinking, if I get a nice sale on just the basic Civ 6, that's what I'm playing on the Switch, I don't mind just putting little cheats in there, Put some cheats on the PC, cross-save it over to the Switch, and be like, I got all this money now. Got all this money, and I can just go ahead and...
See, this is why they don't want to do cross-save, Dominic. You're ruining it for the rest of us.
I ain't playing against people.
Yeah,
this is all against NPCs. But yeah, I'm enjoying Civ 6. Also, I completed the Majima Saga and Yakuza Kiwami 2. It was short.
Okay.
It was short, but it was fine. It just leads up to the events of Yakuza Kiwami 2, which was nice. So it was a nice little story. Majima is funny as hell. So now I'm just waiting for the Yakuza collection when it comes out. If I could play 3, 4, 5, and 6, or let 6 be by itself. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what the collection. I forgot what the collection is made up. Is it 4 games or just 3 games?
Yeah, I can't remember.
Anyway, what else we got here? Since I finished Yakuza, I am playing Trails of Cold Steel, going through my Trails saga. So now I'm just started that. I'm only at the very beginning of that game. I did a new game plus since, I beat the game already, just to try that out. You only can take some items to the other game. Like, you have a point system.
Interesting.
And the point system you use is that, hey, do you want to take some, like, all your items or your levels? I think levels is automatic.
Okay.
Items, money, and that nature. But you only could take certain ones. I think Bonnie points seemed like it took the most. Bonnie points is what your bonds between your classmates. And I think I took that because, I can get, that means I can focus my bondings on other classmates I didn't do in the first game. So I did that, and I forgot the other thing I did. I think I did something with costumes or something, which I must have chosen the wrong thing because I don't really see costumes, mostly just accessories, and they're dumb, and I don't care about that. So I was like, whatever. Oh, well, I think you could do swimsuit costumes. Like, I'm not putting these kids in bikinis and just run around doing shit. Like, I'm not doing that. Good God. I was just hoping to get the regular clothes costume. That's what I really want. Like, just have to wear a damn school uniform everywhere. All right. What else have I played? I played some more Donkey Kong Country. I did beat the B boss.
Nice.
I'm whining constantly whining. You'll see that when I posted the video.
Yeah, I was looking at that the other day.
Yeah. Also, I played some more Mario. I forgot to put up here Mario 35.
Okay.
And I am not really good at Mario games apparently because I do not know how to platform on these games. Like, I always jump in too far or too short, and I'm like, I just can't jump right. And they have it where you can practice. And I try to do that, and I just cannot get it. I don't know. It seems like I do better if I just keep going fast. I feel like I do better than when I stop and then try to do something, and then I just miss. But, I mean, I forgot to look at the place where I be in when I finished. I think sometimes I saw myself at 16. Sometimes I die so fucking early. It'd be like 20-something. Like I just hit something wrong. I was like, oh, man. Or like, because I was playing with no sound on because I'm watching a basketball game. Because I'm playing it while I'm watching a basketball game. And I don't know the sound when I have the superstar, the star power. And the music goes a certain way. You can pretty much tell when you're going to stop, but I can't. So I'm just running through. It's like, oh shit, am I about to die now? I mean, if it's got to go away now or what? And sometimes I think I died one time because I just didn't realize I wasn't still invincible. But yeah, it's fun. I still like playing it. I still like playing that. I only think I locked 3 levels of it so far. So yeah, I'm still gonna probably give that a try. I'm still gonna be playing around with that. And I played the Games for Gold game, Bleed 2. Bleed 2, I mean, I've seen it. I think I've seen Bleed 2, but I never knew what it was. I never knew what this game was. This is an action platformer. Like, it's a chaotic action platformer. But it's they have different modes. Like, you have a story mode, which it continues from a certain point of the stage. Like, you won't have to keep starting from the beginning. While arcade mode, you only have one life. You only have one life, and that's it. So I know I was not going to play that mode. But they have it like easy, normal, hard, and things of that nature. Excuse me, I had to turn this heat off. It is action platformer where you use the left thumbstick to shoot, and you use the trigger. One of the trigger buttons is it a left trigger, I believe, to jump.
Oh, okay.
And you can do like a triple jump, so it plays in that notion. So I'm still kind of used to it because that always feel a little weird to me.
Yeah.
But when I get used to it, it's like okay, it just feels good. And you also have a slowdown. You can slow down time also, and it's a timer on that how much time you can slow down. But it's fun. I mean, I like it. You have to like if you see something purple, you can reflect it. Like it's just the shoot button. It's also the melee button because you initially just swing your sword or whatever blade, I guess, whatever it is, and then if you hold it, you're shooting. So sometimes you want to reflect those shots, and it's also a score system. So I think the most I ever got was a C. But it seems like the lowest you can get is a D. So yeah, I've never been doing that great because I always die and I always taking hits. Yeah. Not really dodging. I think the more you reflect, you do well. But you know what? Now I'm thinking about it, that's just like Cuphead. You know, it's purple.
That's
purple.
what
It's that same fucking color.
Thinking of when you were saying that.
Yeah, it's the same damn color.
Well,
okay, so
Cuphead
somebody's
was pink.
Purplish pink. I don't know. Okay. It's the same thing to me. I mean, it's whatever it is between purple and pink.
Gotcha. Magenta.
I say. I mean, I think I went through a few levels, and I don't quite understand the story because I didn't really read totally the cutscenes. But it seems like the person reporting, it's like a news report. It seems like between each level, and it seems like that's the bad guy's news reporter or something. I don't know because he's always reporting how you're destroying everything. And blah, 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 and like how you're wrecking havoc. And like, I don't know why I'm fighting these guys or anything. Like, I just say, hey, this is a fun game.
They're bad people.
Because there's one guy who I was fighting, and I beat him, but then he was on my side. And I was like, how the hell that happened? I don't know. But yeah, this game is fun. This is actually like a fun shooter. Like, okay, this is a good pickup of an unknown game. See, people all complaining about like, oh, this stuff sucks.
Yeah.
It's like, yo, try them out.
Absolutely.
There could be these hidden gems that you don't know that are pretty good games. Doesn't all have to be big first party games like that's free every month. I mean, obviously you can't do that because you will have no games eventually.
Right.
But yeah, Bleed 2 was all right. So I think that's all I played. And well, except for the game we both played, I picked up on Friday. Age of Calamity, the Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity.
Yeah.
The Dynasty Warriors Zelda game. I picked that up. It did start me where I left off because it kept your save from your demo.
Oh shit, it didn't bring my save. That's all I've played so far is the bit from the demo. Maybe I just didn't save when I quit out of the demo or something. Man.
Darn, maybe you didn't. Cool. Yeah, it says, we got your save. Oh, do you think it's because you're playing?
Yeah, maybe.
You're playing mine,
because it wasn't pulling my.
Yeah, you played the demo.
Maybe that's why.
That's why, because you played it on your name. And since you're playing a game through my name, it's going to be, they're not going to do it.
That makes sense.
I wonder why they didn't just pull my save.
Right.
But I guess it's not on the system. It's not in the cloud. Maybe my save's not in the cloud.
Yeah, probably not because you don't technically have Nintendo Online, so.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. We're just like a mess of like things. Like you don't have a save, I don't have a name. Yeah. It still works.
But anyway, so I went to Gerudo Valley. That's what they call. Are they called the Gerudos?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm there now, meeting those people and fighting enemies there. I was fighting them, but then like some story element happened where they were being used by some evil guy, and now I have all the women on my side, all these beautiful women.
Nice.
But yeah, and then you have her. Damn, what was her name? You don't remember the Gerudo woman's name from Breath of the Wild?
No.
She's on my team now.
Yeah, I don't remember her name. One of the champions,
yeah,
though, right?
Yeah. So you have her. You can fight with her now. So I'm switching between her and still Impa is still like the strongest one out of all of them. But
how's she play? What does she do differently?
She does like some electricity or something, like some electrical storm thing.
Oh, okay.
Like or with her heavy hits. But I do like the game. I mean, I'm still used to the controls because I'm playing with my Wii pad because I got an 8-bit though.
Oh, okay, cool.
8-bit do. But I'm using my Wii U pad, my Wii U Pro pad, for that, and I'm trying to get used to what how to bring up the tablet icon stuff.
Yeah.
The so what is it called? What is that tablet called?
The Sheikah Slate.
Yeah, the Sheikah Slate. Like bringing that stuff up because some enemies have those icons come up, like say, hey, use the magnetism, and I was like, oh shit, how you do that? And then I'd be too late. But it doesn't hurt you much. It doesn't really hurt you much for not using it. Maybe if you're playing a harder difficulty, it'll be like, just harder to really bring them down. But it is cool, like, okay, yeah, bring this up and you can do something, like to power them down more, like find weaknesses and things of that nature. So yeah, it's yeah, the game. I mean, I like it. I mean, because I like these type of games. These type of games I do like, enjoy. Because I was thinking about getting the One Piece one. To be honest with you.
Oh, okay.
Because I mean, One Piece Warrior 3 was $29.99, I think. The Ultimate Edition, and I'm actually. Oh yeah, I mean, I haven't been talking about it, but I be having that on in the background a lot.
Oh no,
One
you're
Piece
falling down the
Naruto.
One Piece hole.
Yeah, that show is it's crazy. It's pretty. It's, you know what? It's actually sort of funny. I mean, for an anime show, it's not great. Like, because I'm not really into anime, so some of that stuff is like, it's dumb. But it has some funny lines in there, which I'm thinking, were they in the Japanese version? This was just implemented because they had, you know, they be talking off screen, like you just be looking at something, and you hear them talking. I was like, hey, how much were they talking right here? But it's a funny show, and Naruto, I actually enjoy. I mean, I like what they do as far as fighting, and there is a site that says this is what's canon and this is what's the filler episodes. So cool. I could just skip them. I could just skip the filler. But I like the whole fighting stuff they do. I mean, kind of like Dragon Ball Z. I like when they fight and things of that nature. Just don't like because it takes so long. And without Naruto, it's the same way. The fights take probably definitely longer than they should. But knowing that, hey, I don't have to wait a week. You know, it's just the next Netflix episode. So it's like it just goes right to the next one.
Right.
It doesn't feel that long. So that's what I'm saying. I'll probably watch Dragon Ball Z that way too. It's like, hey, if I could just watch it and then just skip a whole, like this thing is I fast forward Naruto too. Like I fast forward through shit. Like I don't want to feel like that. And even like One Piece when he's fighting somebody and then they do all this other crap. I'll fast forward till I see them fighting again. But yeah, I mean, they're all right shows. I know why people are fans of them. I can see the appeal of them. But One Piece is funny because I thought it was like a kiddie show, but they be not that they're cursing, but it's some of the subject matter is like this can't be for like elementary school kids, right?
Right.
But yeah. All right, so I guess that is it. And as for the flashback segment, man, I don't really have one because there has been no games that came out. There's nothing of note, nothing to really worth talking about. So you know what? We're going to go right to the gaming news.
All right.
So as we take a break, we're going to the gaming news. And we're back. And now let's get into the gaming news. So what we got, Dan?
All right, Dominic. So Outriders, the game everyone always forgets about and doesn't really know what it is. That's the new one made by People Can Fly. It looks kind of like a mix of Destiny and Gears of War kind of thing like that. Maybe some Anthem thrown in there. That's being delayed. It was coming out February 2nd. It's going to be coming out April 1st now. And there will be a demo for it, though, coming out on February 25th. And with that, whatever you play in that demo is going to carry over into the actual game, which is always nice.
Yeah, that is nice because, you know, a lot of games, I mean, there are quite a few games that are doing that now. Mm-hmm. But I would appreciate it if it, like Destiny had done that, so I don't have to do that, some of those missions over again.
Except for the fact that if that had happened with the original Destiny, Dominic, then we would have been done.
We would have played the whole game?
We would have been done the game in like 20 more minutes.
I know. You know what? Yeah. But honestly, how do you think this game would do? Like, I hope, maybe from this demo I'll find out, like, hey, this might be one of those new gems that we have that's become really good. But I just had this feeling like this is going to be a game that's forgotten. I hope not, but
for me, it's the whole Destiny thing is going to be something that works against it for me. I know you liked whatchamacallit a lot, though, so I think it's
what, Avengers?
It's in good hands. Not Avengers. The one People Can Fly made, Bulletstorm.
Oh, Bulletstorm. Yeah.
I think they're a competent developer. I think the game will be all right, but whether it'll be able to compete in that landscape that, at this point is really just kind of Destiny. Nobody else has really succeeded in doing that kind of live game. Avengers didn't, and Anthem obviously fell flat on its face.
So it's coming back, Daniel.
I think there's room for it. I just wonder. Yeah, we'll see. So I don't know. I could see this being reviewed decently well, somewhere in like the 80s or something like that, critically relatively acclaimed, but I don't know that the sales will be there. I don't know that anybody's really talking about this game in that way to get them anywhere. So, and
this is going to be on all systems, right?
Yeah, I think it's, officially releasing on the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, but I think will be playable and will eventually. I don't know if it's getting an update or if it's, let me look here real quick. Yeah, okay, yeah, it looks like it's releasing on all the platforms, PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Series X, Google Stadia, and PC. Okay, yeah, I'm actually a bit surprised by that. I don't know why, but I guess this just like whole cross-generation stuff is a bit confusing for, like, my mind doesn't initially go there, It's like, is it on this or this, when in reality, like, this kind of, I think it's the fact that you can play Xbox and PS4 games on your new systems that kind of just throws everything out of whack for me, because then I'm never sure if it's like, oh yeah, you can play it on there, or is it a thing that I can buy specifically for that? And in this case, it looks like you can, get a version for each of those things. So, yeah, I'm hoping it turns out all right. One of the things that actually concerns me, Dominic, is that Square Enix is publishing this, and they also published the Avengers game. So is this just another case of like, hey, they could have made a decent game, but Square Enix wanted them to make it a live service game. So here we are.
It's a Square Enix published game.
Yeah.
Man, that's... You remember there was that zombie game that was supposed to be published by Square Enix years ago. I don't remember what it was called, though.
Yeah, I don't remember. Zombie... Square Enix game. Dead Man's Cross?
Yeah, I gotta see it. This game was shown at E3.
This must be old, because their website says service for Dead Man's Cross English version will come to an end July 30th, 2017. I don't remember a game called Dead Man's Cross, to be honest with you.
Oh man, now I gotta go back to watch E3s to remember, because I really want to remember that game was, because I want to know what happened to it.
That's a card-based thing, apparently. Dead Man's Cross. Was it a third-person shooter kind of thing?
Yeah, but there was just a trailer. It was just like a CG trailer of it.
Okay. Yeah, that's nothing. Getting no good results off of that.
Yeah, me neither. Yeah, I'm going to do my homework. I'll probably have it on the next podcast. I'm going to find it because I want to know what happened to it.
Yeah. E3 rewatch. All right, Dominic. In some other news, there's a survey going around from Microsoft now. Hello. There's a survey going around from Microsoft now that's asking players whether they would be interested in DualSense style controller features such as the adaptive triggers and the haptic feedback instead of kind of normal rumble. What do you think? Is that something that you would like out of the new Xbox controller if they were just like, hey, we created a new revision for this. You know, we're making it so developers can use these features if they want, but they, don't have to.
I mean, I wouldn't mind, but I just want to know how many developers are going to be making it. That's the thing. Like, I mean, honestly, if you're a PlayStation guy, you kind of want this to happen so Sony will there'll be more games inclined to use that.
Absolutely. Especially the way feedback. I've heard it talked about around launch is like, oh yeah, there are some games like Spider-Man uses it in some cool ways. And I know there's a lot of talk about Ratchet and Clank using it on their weapons, different varieties. And I'm sure that'll be cool because there's always such a huge swath of different weapons that I could see them, doing all sorts of different things with those triggers. And I don't know about the haptic feedback part if it really is improved in that way. But yeah, you would want to see that more often. I mean, that's what I talked about before it came out. Basically saying like, I hope that the developers start using this stuff because I would like to see it even in PC versions of games. If I have a PlayStation 5 controller plugged in, if I can get those features on my PC, I would love for that to be the case. And honestly, between you and me, I've always enjoyed the feel of an Xbox controller more. So if it had all those features that the PlayStation controller did, I'd be all about that.
Yeah. So I wouldn't mind. It's just that maybe that'll help make it worth it. Hopefully, it makes it worth it.
Yeah, I would also be
developers were developed for it.
I would be concerned about the cost premium. Now, you do see like the Xbox, even the Series X controllers going on sale like Black Friday. I feel like they were down to like $30-$40, whereas you're seeing the DualSense for like $70. So when it's a $10 difference, then it's like I don't
care that much for it. Then
yeah,
I don't care for it. It's like, well, I look at it this: I never got a Switch controller, but then again, because I just used the crappy one, and this was crappy to me.
Yeah, this
wasn't like it was like, oh, this is good enough. No, it was crappy, but I still didn't get it because I don't know. I was still like, man, that price tag.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's I don't know. I probably would if it didn't come with the system, Dan. Like if I get if it they say, hey, we're gonna start packing them in the new systems. Like by the time I get one, if they don't do that, like they did with the PlayStation, eventually when they had the DualShock, they start packing them in.
Yeah.
If they don't start doing that, then I probably will never get one.
Yeah.
I mean, I probably
won't. Have like a broken
probably,
controller or something.
Yeah. If I say, oh man, my controller's not working right, well, I guess I'll just get one now.
Get some of that stick drift going.
Yep. All right. So what else we got, Dan?
All right, Dominic. So we got a story coming out of Bloomberg. They did a nice piece about the 20 years of Xbox. And it wasn't Jason Schreier. It was, do I still have that article open? I did. And if I closed it, I'm very mad at myself. Dina Bass, who wrote the article. It's basically an oral history of the Xbox and coming to market and everything. But one of the fun bits that came out of it, and I I remember there being a lot of rumors and talk on the internet around that time of things of this nature. But apparently Microsoft approached both EA, and I don't think I ever heard anything about that. And Nintendo about acquiring them. And then after they basically got laughed out of the room at Nintendo and a very strong no from EA, they also talked to Nintendo about doing a partnership. Like, we'll do the hardware, you do the software, and, we'll go from there. And honestly, at that time, like at the time of the GameCube Xbox era, I don't know what I would have necessarily been for that. But once I came around and once I had an Xbox 360,
I know you were always saying that. You were definitely preaching that.
Yeah, I was all about that because I loved my Nintendo games, but I was getting fed up with the hardware that Nintendo was offering to us.
Yeah,
I was like, man, just give me a Mario on the Xbox 360. That's all I want.
But yeah, they said they laughed at him.
Yeah, that was basically the description.
Which I'm like, you got the balls to laugh at me. I said, okay.
I'll still take over.
Exactly. That's what I say.
That's the thing. I think Nintendo's got enough money that they could probably...
dropping another one over there.
Oh, wow.
There's a reason you don't have a standing army.
Too much,
You're going to laugh at me. No, I go too far? Huh?
Too far.
You don't laugh at my American company.
Oh, goodness.
They laugh at them, Dad. They laugh at America.
That's sure. But yeah, I mean, to think we could have been in a different reality where maybe not only EA, but also EA and Nintendo were acquired by Microsoft, I think they would be in a very different position now.
Oh, God. Yeah.
I mean, granted, if this was a different timeline and you told me, like, hey, Rare's going to get absorbed by Microsoft, acquired by Microsoft, and that hadn't actually happened in my reality, I think that would have been a bigger kind of thing too. And that really just kind of went nowhere, unfortunately. It resulted in them making avatars for the Xbox ecosystem. Yeah,
they really, it's like, it's a drop the ball. We didn't get the games we thought.
No.
From them.
Yeah, and we still have, I mean, they've still never created like a platformer for the Xbox, right? Like, we got the Nuts and Bolts game, which you can argue is like a weird building platformer, I guess, kind of thing. But we've got Sea of Thieves, and now they're showing off Wild.
Yeah, because I guess the closest thing to a platformer is what's that girl name? Cameo.
Oh yeah, pretty much. Sorry, it's away from the mic. Okay. Yeah, pretty much Cameo, and that's a game that I forget about. Like, I wouldn't mind them revisiting that world. I think she was a decent enough, character and game that you could make a new Cameo, a reboot or something, and explore that world in a pretty cool way. Yeah, it really seems like once Rare was out of like the watchful eye of Nintendo, they were like, oh, we don't just make Nintendo games anymore. Because that's basically what they were doing.
Yeah.
With the exception of Perfect Dark. I will give them credit for that. But that was them basically going like, hey, GoldenEye was big for Nintendo. Let's make one of those. So... Wait, they made GoldenEye too, didn't they?
Yeah, but I'm saying they made GoldenEye.
I'm trying to take their credit away from them, Dominic. Yeah, I mean, so I will give them credit for that. That was pretty original, and in a lot of ways, Banjo and Kazooie was an improvement over Super Mario 64, which Nintendo never did during the 64 era.
Yeah.
So I will give them credit for that. I'm not here to retroactively shit on Rare. I was very disappointed when it came out that Rare had been
I was sort of disappointed, but I was a Sony boy.
Yeah.
And I didn't have the other systems. So I was like, damn, Microsoft's getting Rare. Damn, man, what's happening to Nintendo? What's going to happen to Nintendo?
Yep. Turns out they're doing just fine.
Yeah, they're doing fine.
Yeah. So, speaking of Nintendo, we've got some interesting stuff to talk about, Dominic. But did you have anything else you wanted to discuss? Any news that you saw that looked interesting before we get into this one?
Shit, I don't think so. Let me just look real quick. All right. This is Valve is recruiting psychologists to craft new gaming experiences and technologies. Okay.
Technologies, maybe. Games, no. They're going to figure out a way to convince me to buy more things in Steam, which I think Epic's already got the right idea with, hey, here's a free coupon, and then if you use this coupon, you'll get another coupon, and if you use that coupon, you'll get another coupon, and they'll just, keep trying to get you to buy things. It's insidious, Dominic.
Yeah. No, I don't think so. Yeah. Oh. She got something to say? She's screaming back there.
She's trying. She's still angry about the whole Rare thing. She's like, man, back in my day, Rare made some good video games. All right, Dominic. Right. So yeah, there is a sheet out there that is allegedly for a Nintendo Direct that will be happening on January 11th. So we're, less than half a week away. We're just a couple of days away at this point of recording this, when that would allegedly happen. And we all know that Nintendo Directs do come out of nowhere. And we also know that there has been talk of a Switch Pro. I mean, we talked about it last year, basically. Even during our predictions and stuff, we were speculating that one would be coming out in 2020 at that point. So, yeah, there's a whole rundown that someone has posted online alleging that this is real. We don't know at this point whether it's real or not, but I thought regardless of that, it would be very interesting to go over some of these things that they have on here and kind of talk about their validity, I guess. So to kick it off, the first thing is there would be a Switch Pro. It would be releasing on 4/23/2021. So relatively soon we'd be seeing that. What do you think right off the bat, Dominic? Are we getting a Switch Pro this year, and would we see it that soon?
I don't know. I want to, if no pandemic happened, maybe.
Yeah.
I would have said yes. But I'm going to go say yes. I say a Switch Pro is coming out this year. I'm going to say yes.
I think I'm firmly in that camp. I mean, obviously I was firmly in that camp last year, but it may have been delayed because of the COVID stuff, or maybe it didn't. Maybe they just wanted to come out behind these next-gen consoles to kind of feel them out, see what they were doing, and see how they could improve the Switch to kind of get their own footing again. And that date, honestly sounds pretty right to me as far as when we were making up predictions earlier in the week. That's basically what I had. I was like, I could see it coming out April, May, somewhere in there. So we'll see. And, just to kind of, well, I'll save that stuff for prediction stuff that we'll talk about after this. So the list of first-party games that they have here, they've got Nintendo World Park Tour, that would be coming out at launch. Mario Kart 9, that's coming
Hold on, but we got to talk about that. The Nintendo World Park Tour, I mean, what is that? What is that game going to even be? If this is real,
do you remember the Disney Connect game, Dominic?
Oh, okay.
No, I don't know what that would be.
I mean, because when I read that, I was thinking like, are they talking about this going to have like a tour of the park or something, and that's it? Is this really a game, or what is this? Or is this? You remember Nintendo? Wasn't there like a Nintendo World, or what was that game called on the Wii U?
Nintendo Land for the Wii U.
Nintendo Land, yeah.
Game collection type thing.
That's what I'm saying. Is this Nintendo Land? But it says Park Tour, so I'm like, I'm thinking something else.
Yeah, I could see it just being a free thing that comes pre-installed on the console and is literally just that, right? Is like this is a tour of the park. You can
take your Switch with you to the park, and you can do games.
Oh yeah, I mean,
as you
absolutely.
go to different places.
Well, no, they don't want you to take your Switch. They want you to buy one of those little wristbandy things like they have at Disney too, because that's what Miyamoto was showing off. So maybe there's some kind of integration. But actually, I think those also act as amiibos. So yeah, you got to tie all the ecosystems in there, Dominic.
Oh,
all right. After that, we got Mario Kart 9 allegedly coming spring 2021. What do we need out of a Mario Kart 9 for that to be relevant, Dominic?
For me, it would have to be some sort of story mode. Something where, like, something similar to a Diddy's Conquest or maybe more of Crash Bandicoot, but something more for the single-player experience.
Yeah.
I mean, the multiplayer is there. I mean, what else do you... I mean, I'm sure, yes, there's some improvements. Yeah. So, the single-player, it's gotta... I want more depth. I want more depth, not just you just racing tracks and doing cups. Like
Absolutely,
that could be a certain mode. But I want more depth, just like you did with Mario Tennis, something along that natures. Yeah, and what you did with Smash. I mean, so yeah, just have something that's more than just cups. Because
you can still have a Grand Prix mode, but give me a story.
Yeah, hold on. Gotta dismiss this. But, I mean, obviously they probably don't have to do that. I mean, I think people are going to buy regardless. I mean, yeah, they don't. But, I mean, I feel like, hey, they got enough money. They can. They can do that.
Yeah.
Shit.
And they should.
Now, for me personally, if it's not a story mode to it, I probably won't get it. I probably won't. I think I'm still good with Mario Kart 8 because I looked at how much I paid that when I got it, and I haven't played it a whole lot.
Yeah, same here.
So, what I'll probably think like, hey, what should I get a Mario Kart 9 then? If I ain't played this a whole lot, it's probably not worth me getting this one, unless they have a single player mode, which that would make me more inclined to play it.
Yeah, I could see them adding some sort of like live circuit features too, but like for those of us that don't have that, that's not really a selling point.
Exactly.
All right. Sorry.
Good.
After
go ahead.
that
Go ahead.
is Splatoon 3 Summer 2021. What do you want out of a Splatoon 3 that Splatoon 2 didn't have?
Well, Splatoon 2 did end up putting the Horde mode, I forgot what it was called, in there eventually, but it was only like at certain times, which I don't know, it might have changed since then. I haven't played it in a while now. But I mean, people were still not set on the single player. Like, it was okay, it was better, I guess, than the first one, but still not great. So maybe a better single player mode. But other than that, I don't know. Like, I honestly don't know what I want. That game surprised. I mean, I did like what Splatoon 2 did, but I don't know what I want. I don't know what can they do to make it better. I can't think of anything. I mean, the only thing I can think of is like a better single player mode.
Yeah.
Maybe make it. Well, the way Splatoon single player is, I don't know how you would play that co-op. It's not that kind. It's not like an action pack kind of thing. With it,
okay.
It's more it's like platformy. But it's very platformy. And I'm thinking, do they have to be? Oh, I guess you can make the Horde more, just like make it bigger, make it more interactive. I mean, because it's not really much you do. You know, you kill the things, you collect the orbs, and you put them in, and you fight these enemies. I wish there was something more to it, something bigger to it, like more eventful, something more eventful in that mode. Yeah, that's the only thing I can really think of.
I think I'd be with you.
Go ahead.
I was just saying, I think I'd be with you. I mean, obviously for me, single player is a large portion of it. I mean, even 2 sounded kind of enticing with the stuff that they added over 1. But yeah, that, and then just, more arenas, different kind of paint guns, I guess. Give us more variety and stuff.
And I don't know, maybe a new mode that's more hectic. It's not really competitive, like it's just crazy. Shit just happens that it's like, oh, this is so unexpected that happens. Like maybe it's like a paint bomb that comes down that's neither of our colors, and so it takes away points from both sides. You gotta try to get rid of it or something. I don't know. Like just something random just happens.
Yeah. Ways to trigger events and stuff. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. All right, Dominic, here's the big one, and the first one that maybe makes me a little eerie of this list. Super Mario Odyssey 2 coming holiday 2021. Is it
Super Mario
too
Odyssey
soon
2.
for that? Or is it?
I don't think it's too soon because Mario Galaxy came out, a year later?
Yeah, that was. But you see how quickly people forget about Galaxy 2, Dominic.
So... people, they always say that's the best one. So I don't know. I don't think it's too soon.
Yeah.
I just wonder if it's real. I mean, I would like it to be. But yeah, because I mean, that game was great. That game was awesome.
Yeah.
So yeah, I want another 3D Mario game.
I think some of my apprehension is more not that it's like too soon, but when you combine this game with the other ones that they're speculating would also come out this year, it maybe seems like too much. Now, at the same time, did we get Breath of the Wild and the original Mario in the same year?
Yes.
Yeah, and Splatoon, and right, like that was the first year of the Switch, right? Where all that stuff came out. Yeah, so it's not out of the realm of possibility. And if we are talking about releasing a new or upgraded or whatever Switch, then, they might have all this in their chamber, but it just seems like so much. Now, this past year was not very substantial for them, so it may be that they've just kind of had all this stuff loaded in the chamber and, due to COVID or whatever, things just didn't line up so that they could release some of this stuff and, release some of this pressure. But, who's to know here?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because another one after that. Sorry, you got something else?
No. I got nothing. You go right ahead.
So after that, Fire Emblem Echoes Path of Radiance. That's May 2021. So you got a Mario game, you got a Splatoon game, you got a Mario Kart game, you got a Fire Emblem game. That's a lot right there. They're stacking them up.
Oh shucks, yeah, that is a lot. So if this list is true, but hey, maybe like you said, they weren't ready for last year, and then they say, hey, we're just going to be coming out the woodwork. It's going to be just blasting them out.
Mm-hmm. All right, Metroid Resurgence, which I'm guessing would probably be the next Metroid Prime. Although I think when I originally looked at this list, since it didn't say Prime, I was thinking maybe it was a 2D side-scrolling one, which if that's the case, then 100% fuck yes, I'm all about that. For fall of 2021, so add that one to the list of, 2021, just, having basically every Nintendo franchise you could think of. And that's just the first party stuff. Then they get into a list of the third party stuff. Because I think basically the way this list is shown is the order of operations, the way we would see it. We would open with the Switch Pro, and then they would say, hey, with the Switch Pro, we've got these games coming out from our first party studios. And then with our third party partners, we would have Kingdom Hearts Destiny's Embrace, which who knows what that is. Is that another new Kingdom Hearts thing? Is that them finally bringing some of these to the Switch, whatever it is? As you mentioned, Bayonetta 3, that finally, I mean, we know Bayonetta 3 is coming at some point, but we have no idea when. This is speculating that it would be summer of 2021. And that sounds about right to me, right?
Yeah.
So,
yeah, that seems fine. I mean, it's been that so long. I expected it maybe last year.
Yeah.
So definitely.
Absolutely. Along with that, Shin Megami Tensei 5, that's fall 2021, which I believe we also know about already. And then a large swath of games from the bigger publishers, Ubisoft having Valhalla, Watch Dogs Legion, which would both be available at the launch of the Switch Pro, and then Far Cry 6. And they're saying that these games would all run natively on a Switch Pro, but you would also have the option to stream them, much like we've seen and I've talked about with Control, to the Switch Standard and Switch Lite. And then with Capcom, they would have Resident Evil 2 Remake, 3 Remake, and Devil May Cry 5, which would be similar streaming and native support on the Pro. Grand Theft Auto 5, which, I mean, absolutely. I mean, I'm honestly a little bit surprised that we haven't seen a Nintendo Switch version of this game, simply because this is a game that came out on the Xbox 360 and the PS3. So it's possible for this game to run there, right?
Yeah. You would think. But I just thought like they just weren't going to bother with that. But darn, I guess they said, nah, we need all the monies.
Exactly.
We need all the monies.
You got to milk everything out of this. Yeah, and that would be cool. Would I buy it? I don't know. Maybe if there was a sale or something. I mean, that's a game I wouldn't mind revisiting. You know, it's been long enough. But at the same time, there's just so many fucking games right now, Dominic. Another one that would also share the streaming native split for the Pro would be Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War and also the Final Fantasy VII Remake. And that allegedly coming fall 2021 to the Switch Pro and streaming via the Switch. What do you think, Dominic? Out of that list, or is it more believable, less believable? The streaming stuff, how does that play in your head?
Thing is, I can see all this plausible, especially and the streaming stuff. I know what you mentioned is that you don't see like the third parties doing it. It has to be Nintendo's going to have this ready, and how much do you trust this? But the thing is, with them doing this with Control and some other games to test it out with the Ubisoft, with the Assassin's Creed, I almost feel like it's maybe this is a thing. Maybe this is a thing they were really going to try to do.
We've seen it in Japan more. Like Capcom had Resident Evil streaming in Japan, so it makes me wonder if those were just tests that Nintendo is internally working on this stuff, and they know that by using this stuff they can compete with a much more powerful Xbox and PlayStation combination. And I think that's extremely wise of them to, especially if you're at home now, as we get closer to having 5G everywhere, which I'm not really committed to that actually being, some kind of godsend for playing video games over the internet. But even if I'm at home and I can pick up my Switch and play the games that everybody else is talking about on their big boy consoles, but I can also do all the other stuff, play Nintendo games, take this thing with me. I think that's a huge advantage for them. And I'm a little weary of that because we're talking about Nintendo here, and to have that kind of like future foresight, especially when talking about things related to the internet, makes me kind of, weary.
Yeah.
Because it's a huge step. I mean, we talked about this last year when there were rumors of Game Pass coming to the Switch, and I think that obviously benefits Microsoft, right? Like they're going to get the money out of that streaming service, but I think there's a benefit to Nintendo there too. I mean, especially if they can get some kind of financial cut from Microsoft, but even just having this library of games, you're not going to have Nintendo games on the Game Pass, so people are still going to have to pay for those outright the same way we do now. But it just gives people more of a reason to get your console over someone else's hardware, you know?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, so this is cool news, but just to think that these games can be played natively on the Switch Pro, if that's the case. Like, how powerful the Switch Pro is.
Right.
Like, are these games going to look good as the Series X, or the Series X or PS5 versions? Or are they going to look better than the PS4 Pro or Xbox One X versions at least?
Yeah.
Or just as good? Are they just as good as that? Is it just as good as that? Or what? Like, how powerful is this new system going to be for Nintendo?
Yeah, because I'm not sure what like chips are looking like right now. Like, what does NVIDIA have to replace the Tegra chip that's currently in the Switch? Now, I believe the one that is currently in the Switch, or was at launch, I know there have been like slight modifications from them, was basically the first Tegra chip. So they were already kind of behind and could have had something to jump up to, but I don't know if that's something that's going to take them to the level that they would want to be if they're competing with like an Xbox One X or a PlayStation 5.
Yeah.
And if so, like, how does that, deteriorate battery, basically?
Yeah, and then like the pricing for the system, they said is $400 on that list. Which I'm like, man, your PS5 digital is $400. So, I mean, just saying undock, like at least for me personally, that's not enough. It's got to at least look, if it's not, it doesn't look as good or at least close. Like, just to say, hey, it can run the games that these guys have. They probably won't look as good, but it won't run horrible. They will be optimized well. Then I'll be all right. But if it comes to be like it is with the Switch now, with some of these games not running well, but still trying to push them through that system, I'm just like, well, it's better than a Switch, but the Switch Pro is in the same position.
It's still compromised.
I don't want to play. Yeah, and I don't want to pay no $400 for that. I'm like, darn.
Yeah. Yeah, so they also had what I would imagine, if I'm thinking about this as a Nintendo Direct, another list of third-party games. Crash Bandicoot 4, It's About Time, Eastwood, Fall Guys Ultimate Knockout, Dirt 5, Yakuza 6, The Song of Life, Persona 5 Strikers, Control Ultimate, Fallout 3 New Vegas, which that one of these things is not like the other, if I'm going to say, Dominic. I think it would be cool for that to show up there. I mean, we did get Skyrim on there, and maybe that's another step of like, hey,
but
we in Microsoft
New
are
Vegas,
cool.
but not Fallout 3. I mean, that's
right,
weird.
Yeah. Like, yeah, just at that point, just give us a collection or something like that.
Collection, exactly.
Yeah. But I could see that being like a, hey, us and Microsoft are on good terms, and they're like, yeah, Obsidian, here you go. All right, Nier Replicant, Dead or Alive 6, Hollow Knight, Silk Song, Dead or Alive 6. The mods aren't going to be there, Dominic, I'm sorry.
Oh, no.
Apex Legends, Plants vs. Zombies, Battle for Neighborville, The Witness, Hitman 3, Maneater, Borderlands 3, Dragon Ball Kakarot, Baldo, Little Nightmares 2, A Way Out, No More Heroes
Baldo,
3.
that sounds familiar.
It sounded familiar to me too. I clicked on something earlier on, I think, Game Informer, but it didn't have any articles about it, so it just came up as like a blank thing. No More Heroes 3, Bravely Default 2, Monster Hunter Stories 2, Wings of Ruin, Monster Hunter Rise, Xenoblade Chronicles 10, or
it's
X,
a
I
game
guess.
that looks
10.
It looks like the drawing of it. It's like the Japanese those anime artsy games, like the game I played. What was it called?
The PlayStation one, right? The RPG.
Yeah, not Nier, but it's Ni no Kune.
Yes, there it is. Yeah, I don't know.
Baldo the
sure
Guardian
we've seen
Owls
this before, but I don't remember.
Was it? Maybe it was a direct. They showed it off.
Yeah, definitely got that.
I'm looking on the Nintendo site.
Now. Yeah, me too. Yeah, so that. Yeah, and the last one they had in that was Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury, which, is out in a couple of weeks at this point. And then the last but not least thing, it seems like, would be The Legend of Zelda Echoes of the Past, which we're assuming is the title for Breath of the Wild 2, and that would be a launch title coming out April 23rd, 2021, alongside this Switch Pro.
So that early, too.
Yeah, that's... there was some speculation that game was coming out last year, so to me, it's not beyond the realm of possibility, but just how much they could be packing into this year is impressive.
Yeah, they say they're going to take a break next year.
Exactly. They're doing their dump this year, and next year you'll get Luigi's Mansion 4 or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, so... What do you think, Dominic? What's percentage here of possibly this being real?
100%.
Oh, okay. You got an uncle that works for Nintendo. He told you so.
I'm going to say, you know what? I'm going to say over 50% is real on this list. Probably close to, okay, well, I'm not going to, I don't know what I'm going to say not real. I'm going to say... I don't know what would be not real. Maybe Metroid doesn't make it this year. Yeah. That's the only thing I could say. Just to disappoint you. And drink your tears. Man, I don't know what... 'cause all this seems possible, but then if it doesn't happen, it's like, okay.
I think that's how they get you, Dominic. They're like, we're just, we're going to make this all things that aren't really that surprising. Like if you told me that Capcom was going to put out Resident Evil 2 and 3 on the Switch in some way, shape, or form, that would not surprise me necessarily. I think to me, the most surprising thing is probably Final Fantasy VII Remake. And I guess that's mainly because right now I just don't look at a system like the Switch as something that could run a game that looks like that. And in reality, that's true of a Resident Evil and, just as much. But yeah, I don't know. This is a list that, if it does in fact come true in a couple of days and next week we come on this podcast, I'm going to be apprehensively excited because I'm in for all of these games. I'm excited about that. But the Switch Pro itself, despite the fact that I've come to terms with it probably being a thing, I like my Switch, and it's not oh, I'm just getting this because it's the new thing. And, I know I don't have to upgrade, but if games aren't running very well on that system and they could be better, if I could get a better experience playing my Switch, which I like the experience of playing the Switch, but I could get a better experience, then yeah, I kind of would want to invest that money, to be honest with you.
So this will take the place of the new consoles. The new big ones. The other console, because this is a console. What I'm talking about. The other.
I mean, that would be a hard thing. Would I choose this over? And right now, PlayStation 5 would probably be the one I would get. Possibly. I mean, there was quite a while that the Switch was the thing that I played more than anything else. And that's kind of fallen off a little bit since just me not playing a ton of games, period. And also playing some things like Control where I'm playing on my PC. But for me, especially now having a child, having something that I can just pick up and play instead of having to sit down in front of the television or sit down in front of my computer and devote, an hour or 2 hours to it's a convenience thing for me. And the Switch might just fit into my life right now a little better than anything else. So I would have to consider it, but if they gave me this list of games, and Sony hadn't given me kind of anything more, then quite possibly. It really depends on how well
they run, right?
Yeah, how well these games run on my existing Switch. Because if I can get 98% of the same experience from my Switch, then no, I don't think I need something new. But if I'm looking at it and I'm like, this is a vast improvement, then it would be hard, to be honest with you. It would absolutely be hard because I am looking forward to things like Ratchet and Clank, and the PS4 has some things that I'm very interested in, and it being something completely different where I know these experiences I can't play somewhere else, even though, that's not really the case right now either, because even as far out as Horizon Zero Dawn Forbidden West, they're talking about being a PlayStation 4 game as well. So
yeah, are they having are people having a protest, or not protest, but like saying things like, oh, we need to tell them they need to stop and just focus on the PS5, like they're telling Microsoft to stop and focus on the Series X for Halo?
I don't know. I might just be in the wrong channels that have heard that.
Because I don't see that. Me too. Maybe I'm in the wrong channels too. Because I'm seeing them do that with Halo, but people ain't saying. I ain't hear nothing about that for Horizon Zero Dawn.
That's because it's the PlayStation fanboys saying that about Halo, and the Xbox people are just like, I'm too busy playing Game Pass.
That's what it feels like. It feels like it's just the PlayStation people. I was like, who's saying, like, are y'all really Xbox Series Xbox people? Like,
let me see your receipt. Like did you buy one of these? No, get out of this.
That was a dumb fucking argument anyway. Like me saying, oh, because of Cyberpunk. So that's not why Cyberpunk failed.
Yeah,
like that's not why their companies. Oh, it's going to be look all horrible on these consoles. I say that's not the reason why. If they knew they was going to be that bad from the beginning, they would have never done them.
Yeah,
like it's.
I mean, what Cyberpunk basically did would be if Microsoft had released Halo Infinite this year.
Yeah, that's probably what would have happened. I mean, they talk about how good Miles Morales looks on the PlayStation 5 compared to PS4, but the PS4 is not shit. Man, I'm playing that.
Exactly. I mean, it seems like a decent. It doesn't seem any worse than the first Spider-Man game, and I was happy about that game, so I don't see why I would be any less content playing Miles Morales that way. Now, sure, would I like it to look like the PS5 game does? Sure, but
It's not broken.
Do I want it $400 more? No. And is it? Yeah, exactly. Is it broken? No, it's not.
Well, all right. I look at the Switch Pro because I'm where you at. Where if it's so much better experience, because I'm curious, like, what's the controller gonna feel like? What's gonna feel like in my hand? It's gonna feel so much better. Now and docking it, how's that gonna be like? Like this is saying that it can play 4K. That's cool. But is it worth it to me to get an upgrade? Like if I didn't get a new 3DS, is this similar to what the Xbox One X is and the PS4 Pro? Whereas I was able just to stay with my base console for the whole generation.
Yeah, and games have run for the most part without too much trouble.
Yeah, and I'm sure it runs better. I heard people say, hey, this runs better. I said, yeah. But usually, what I hear about those games is games I usually don't play, though. So it's games that I didn't play or I got on PC or something else. So, but Yeah, I mean, just like Gears. I heard how Gears 5, how much that looks better, Xbox One X and things of that nature, but I'm still enjoyed it on my base one. So it didn't play like shit. So, yeah, I just want to know how big an upgrade is this? And how much, like how many features, what features does this system have over the current Switch?
Right. It's got adaptive triggers too, Dominic.
Do they have it where you can play multiple games? They got 2 cartridge slots? Or do they just have it with digital? Like, hey, you can just go back, you can play 2 at the same time or something like that. I said, okay. Do they have messages? Can you, like, they have, we're going to add, but that could be put in the regular Switch. You shouldn't need a whole system for that.
No.
Even though they'll probably make it that way.
Yep.
But it's, hey, you can message your friends now.
Be so sad, Dominic. God. The previous console did not have enough power.
It has a mic now. It has a mic at thing where you can talk. You can put a mic in now. You can talk to your friends.
There is talk of like some of the, like, I don't know. Like, it starts to be a point where it's like you're reading rumors on top of rumors based on other rumors and stuff. But like, one of the things would be Bluetooth audio, and like, fucking obviously, I don't understand why they don't have it in there already when you're already using Bluetooth for it. Like, it has Bluetooth, it just doesn't have Bluetooth audio support, which is silly at this point. But
yeah,
like, that being one of the things that they're going to add to the new one, and it's like, fucking really? You can't just upgrade the software or the firmware in some way to do that on the current system? It would not surprise me.
They're still figuring it out, Daniel. They're still figuring it out.
Yeah,
this internet is very complicated.
Yeah, there is that.
All right, you got anything else you want to say?
No, I got nothing else for that stuff.
All right, so I guess that's it for the gaming news, and now we're going to have our predictions on 2021. But before we get to that, we're going to, and our most anticipated games for 2021. Yeah. So games we already know that's coming out. But before we get to that, we're going to look back at our predictions from 2020 and see what has come true and what hasn't come true. And what we were way off on and what we were really close on.
Yeah.
So you can start off, Dan. I mean, I honestly forgot. Maybe you can remember some of the stuff I said.
Yeah, actually, I wrote everything down. I was listening to the podcast earlier. Good. Yeah. So real quick, I'm just going to run through the games I had anticipated because I think it's kind of humorous now looking back on it. Spelunky 2, which I still am, despite the game having released. I think the Switch version of that is kind of where my head's going to be. Unfortunately, the game on PC just didn't hit me in that way. But having the ability to pick up and play like I did with the Vita, which is where I kind of found my original love for Spelunky 1, would be nice. Half-Life Alyx, I was hugely excited about that too, but once I got my VR stuff set back up and seemingly my PC just couldn't handle it, that was extremely disappointing. Psychonauts 2, that just didn't come out.
Wait a minute, you predicted Half-Life Alyx? What'd you say about Half-Life Alyx?
No, I'm saying these are the games that I was anticipating last year into this year.
Oh, well, I definitely don't have that. Darn. Yeah,
I've got that for you too.
Okay.
Yep. So, Psychonauts 2 didn't come out. Doom Eternal, still haven't played, despite the fact that now it's on Game Pass, so I do need to find some time to get into that. And Final Fantasy VII Remake, which played the demo and then kind of was like, yeah, I'm interested in it from a story aspect, but not enough to spend the money on it right now when I don't really have time to play it. Same with Ghost of Tsushima. That was also on my list of stuff, and just, didn't make the time to get it because by the time it came out, it was just like, this looks cool, but I don't know. And then you, Dominic, had Cyberpunk 2077, of course, coming into this year. We were all looking forward to that game, thinking it was, it's going to be the next big thing. And, I think
some people it is.
And that's the thing, right? Is like, I think it hit some stumbling blocks and they made some real bad mistakes. But I think at the end of the day, this game it's going to be all right. Like, it's just they burned a lot of bridges, and it's going to take them a lot of time to get their reputation back together for people to trust them. So you also had the new consoles, of course. We talked about that stuff as well. Very excited leading into that. At that point, we didn't know a lot about those consoles. So it was very much just like based on speculation, like these things could be awesome. Wolf Among Us 2, which I, at this point, have almost completely forgotten about. But yeah, that's a thing that we know is supposed to be coming. Now, it didn't come out. And you even said basically like, if it's coming out, excited to finish that story, basically. Halo Infinite, unfortunately delayed, obviously.
I know, I was excited for that, didn't come out.
Halo Dying Light 2, which unfortunately also got delayed indefinitely.
Yeah, we don't know when the hell that's coming out.
MLB The Show, you were saying you were excited to see what they were going to do because we weren't sure at that point whether that year was going to be the year that they began making them multi-platform, and you were excited to see if they had come to the Switch, what that would end up being.
And now that's moved on to this year that I'm waiting to see what happens with that game.
Exclusive to the Switch Pro, Dominic.
Well, that's fine. Also, still come on Xbox. I'm going to be on there.
There you go. Be on Game Pass. And then Final Fantasy VII, you had also mentioned looking forward to.
Yeah, and I think I said, I do remember now, I did say, like, I'm actually excited to see if it was going to be good or not. Mm-hmm. And I said the Metacritic rating was going to be around, like, 75 to 80, and it actually is, like, 87.
Yeah, I looked at that because you had that under your predictions. I was like, yeah, it's right around there.
Oh, that was what I remember. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah. So those were games we were looking for.
I didn't think it was going to be Game of the Year for, like... nominated though. I didn't. Yeah. That was unexpected.
Just had the name recognition, Dominic. That's all it was.
Just like Breath of the Wild.
Yeah. How dare you? All right, into the actual predictions, Dominic. We had the pricing for the consoles up first. I had said $399 for the PlayStation 5 and $500 for the Xbox. And you were right on, you were in agreement with me there. And that's pretty spot on. I mean, the PS5 came in two variations. There was a $500 one.
Yeah. I didn't think there was going to be two variations of the PS5. I didn't expect it to have it at that point.
Yeah. I had also said I expect to see a Series S, a Xbox XS. Xbox One S equivalent in the series. So a Series S.
Yeah.
And I was saying $350 for that. Now I actually came in over top of that. But I think at that time I was also thinking that we wouldn't see a difference in specs. I was thinking maybe
you was thinking all digital, right? No. I mean, which it is, but not different specs, like you said. Yeah.
Yeah.
But you would think about, it'd just be a box and you just can do the services and everything on there.
Exactly. There's also, as we just talked about, anticipating a Switch Pro last year, expecting to see that. And along with that, I don't know if it was a prediction so much as hopeful thinking. I wanted to see Metroid last year, and of course we did not.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, you said that.
Yeah, that didn't work out too great for me, but... that's how it goes. As for sorry.
Yeah, I'm going to say the things I remember I said.
Okay.
E3, I said E3 was going to be really changed. Mm-hmm. It was really different, and it was.
It definitely was.
It didn't happen. It didn't happen. I said the NCAA football is going to be like probably announce something. It was going to be announced by NCAA football.
Yeah.
Or maybe attached to Madden.
Exactly.
Not really. It just attaches as it always been. Like you just see people come from the colleges or something, and you can play for a few colleges, but not a full game. I always said the Final Fantasy one. I said I had no idea how the Avengers game was going to turn out. Like, it was going to be good or bad or nothing. Like, I had no idea. Because I still didn't know what that game really was, even then.
Yep.
I just knew it was
and that's
Destiny
exactly what you said. Like, we don't even know what this game is still, but yeah.
Yeah, well, it turned out bad, past Dominic. It turned out bad. I said we would see nothing from BioWare, and we actually did.
They spit in your face, Dominic. They said, we've got Dragon Age and we've got Mass Effect.
Yeah, near the end. They did. The end that they're doing they're doing a Mass Effect re-release of the old games. Well, a remastered, I guess, and a new Mass Effect is on the way. Yeah, and shocked me. That was a shocker, past Dominic. They actually did something. But nothing about Anthem, so I'm guessing maybe they said fuck Anthem, but I don't know. Did I say anything? I said something about like a Fallout 76 expansion. I screamed it, but I don't know if I meant it. Like I said it while you were talking. I was saying something else like Fallout 76 get an expansion. I was saying about Bethesda doing something. I said Fallout 76 get an expansion. But I'm going to say I meant it because they did.
That's a win. We'll count it.
Yeah, I was like, and I said we'll hear something from Starfield, and we didn't.
Yeah.
Anything else I said?
Rocksteady. You said we'd see something from them, and we saw Suicide Squad this year. So.
Yep. Oh, I do got it up here. I just skipped it. Yep. We did, and we saw Suicide Squad, and we saw what was the bad thing we saw from them? What happened? Was it about crunch, or was it sexual harassment? Or harassment.
Sexual harassment.
It was harassment. Yeah.
Stuff,
Because she said take our name off the game.
Yes. Yeah.
The woman. Yeah. Oh yeah, I didn't predict that.
Sexism stuff. Yeah.
Well, I should predict that now. We say we're gonna get some more Me Too stuff happening.
Which company are we gonna see it from this year?
I'm gonna say it's gonna be Naughty Dog.
Oh boy.
I said, yeah, take that award away.
Honestly, I'm a little surprised that we haven't already. I don't know. Not to put that on them.
It's everywhere. It's everywhere, Daniel.
I mean, it kind of seems like it, and having lived in this world for 30 plus years, I'm not surprised. You know, even at our normal jobs, you see things maybe not as egregious as you're hearing about in some of these stories, but there's definitely some that's like, this guy maybe needs to shut the fuck up.
Yeah. So. Yeah, exactly.
Excuse me. So, yeah.
All right. They got a Clarice show coming out.
What is that?
I guess they...
like from Hannibal Lecter?
Yeah, I guess they had a Hannibal Lecter show, so now it's this one based on Clarice. It's supposed to take place before or after? What is this? It's coming on CBS.
Of course it is. All access?
I don't know if it's all access. I think it's a station.
It's actually weird seeing like commercials for new shows because like I'm thinking like when did they record these? Like I keep seeing that one for the new Ted Danson show.
Yeah.
And I'm like, when did they film these? They
must have filmed them maybe before the outbreak, but some shows are filmed during because they have masks on.
Mm-hmm.
Like the show called All Rise. Do you see them with their mask and the plexiglass and the courtrooms and things of that nature? And I'm like, oh man, that's stupid. Just be in a different world, not in the same world. Our world didn't have COVID. It's like I mean, it's all right.
Stripped from the headlines, Dominic.
But I'm just going to shame them when I don't see a mask on. Say shame.
There you go. Now we're talking.
Shame you, just like I do outside when I see people with not mask on. Say shame on you. Shame. All right, so I guess we can get into our predictions for this year.
Sure.
All right, do you want to start or you want me to start?
I can go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah, so my biggest one that I had spent kind of a lot of time thinking about before all of this, like, possibly fake leak stuff came out was a lot about the Switch Pro. Like, I basically the timeline was about the same for me. I was thinking like in March, April, May, somewhere in there. But as far as like specs go, I was thinking 1080p OLED screen. I don't see them going 4K screen. It doesn't seem necessary at the screen size that they're at. Like, it's almost laughable that our phones in a lot of cases are 4K because you just don't need that, and it kills battery life.
You don't. You don't. And it's funny because, like, with Netflix, like basic Netflix, which I think is stupid anyway, is standard definition.
Right.
And it's like, why are you even have this option up here? Now, if you look at that from your phone, that's fine.
Right. Yeah.
It's fine because some people say like, I don't see the difference. I say, how you not see the difference? Then I realized, they just talk about from looking at the phone.
Yeah.
So I was like,
and in a lot of cases, if you're doing it over your carrier, like they limit that stuff too to like 480p.
Oh yeah. So maybe you probably are because I see the damn difference. It's like, at least like, it's not, if it's not HD, man, let's see difference now. If you tell me 720p to 1080p, maybe I can't. But
yeah,
if you're saying standard definition to HD, yeah, I can see it. But yeah, I'm saying, yeah, on your phone, yeah, you can't really tell. I mean, unless you just got super great eyes or something. I don't know. Listen, you have better eyes than other people if you can.
Yeah.
Than normal people. Like, because the screen that's small, you just need to be clear. Just clear enough to see it because the screen's too small.
Once you're going like 1080p, anything larger than that on a screen that size, it's not going to make a difference, and you're sacrificing battery life for it at that point. Now, I do think it would do 4K to the television, but I think that would come via a dock that would have more power in it, basically like maybe not to the extent of like an external GPU, but some sort of additional power, whether it's upscaling processor or something like that, to get you onto your 4K screen. A lot of people, even on the lower end, that's just what's available now. So I think having that, because, there was like that stuff about the PlayStation 5 not supporting like 1440p resolutions and then giving you like wackiness. So I could see Nintendo giving you a 4K output that doesn't necessarily give you 4K levels of visuals, but gets it cleanly out to your TV looking pretty good. As far as like ergonomics of the system, like you were saying with the controller, if it's more comfortable, I'm honestly not sure what you do to that thing to make it still kind of stay in that form factor that's relatively easy to carry around and keep portable, while also making it more ergonomic outside of some like very complicated mechanisms that I've thought about myself in like customizing controllers and stuff. I don't know what else you do with that hardware. It's kind of just a blank slate, right? It's just literally, it's a tablet with two controllers on the side. So I'm not sure how I would change that in the imaginary world that, I could kind of do anything to it. Or, in the pro sense. Now, I could also see them considering something like a Switch Pro a more like, this is an important piece of hardware that you don't necessarily like. It's okay that you need a dedicated kind of case to carry this thing around in. And I'm not saying like a fucking briefcase or something that, you hold separately, but, like, have you seen the, like the Team Satisfy stuff, like the grip that I got that I showed you? They have cases that you can buy that, are thicker, so you can store both of the pieces together, it attached to your thing. So I could see them coming out with something like that, but saying like this is a serious piece of gaming hardware that you're going to need specialized things for, whereas the Switch would just be like the thing you kind of throw in your backpack, or the Switch Lite, which is like the thing your kid throws in their backpack. And I do think all three of those would kind of coexist. You would keep all three of them around for the foreseeable future, because the Switch Pro would be $400. I think I can actually,
you know what? It's going to be $400. This should be $400 if it comes with something like a Satisfy, man.
Yeah,
they got it in there. It's like, hey, this also comes with this grip for it to be more ergonomic.
Mm-hmm. You're going to have out some like fold out handles or something on it. Yeah. I mean, you definitely can make it more ergonomic than it is right now without sacrificing too much, like making it too much larger. I mean, a lot of those like phone grips that you can attach to the sides of your phone and basically make them into like a off-brand Switch. I think some of those look like they're a lot, more comfortable to hold. It's really about just how flat the Switch is. Like, you can add a little bulge to it without sacrificing too much. That's kind of my thing for the Switch. Other predictions I have, I don't think E3 is happening this year, Dominic. I kind of talked about it before with you about how they were kind of lucky in missing last year, not having to kind of deal with the consequences of the leaks for the journalists' information and stuff like that, and just kind of having a bad show that year. But I don't see things getting better for the COVID stuff, or just them in general, in time to start doing that planning for a show in June. And what I think is most wild about it is, like, last year it was like, oh, we're going to do an all digital thing, but like there was never really like pulled together, organized show that had anything E3 branded on it. Like Jeff Keighley had his stuff, but even then it was kind of a loose mishmash of like Summer of Games. So I don't know that we're getting E3 this year, and I don't know if we're getting E3 back ever.
Yeah.
I mean, I think
I didn't have a prediction for that, but I don't think it's going to happen this year.
It's just, it's real rough. Another one I got, Starfield. I was thinking about your prediction from last year. This year, I think we'll see something from them. I don't know that we'll get a release date necessarily. Now, I think this one's a little risky because, like, with Skyrim and with Fallout, right? Didn't they come out like a couple of months after they were announced? Like, it was pretty quick after that. So, and I don't necessarily see this game coming out this year. So that one's kind of a little risky when I just kind of throw that one into there. Your prediction from last year made me think about it a little bit. And kind of building on the Nintendo leaks, whatever faux stuff. I do think we'll see a Metroid game this year. Whether it's Metroid Prime 4, I'm not sure. I would actually really like to see one that's not Metroid Prime 4, as long as it's not like fucking Metroid Hunters or something like that. If they...
Hold on, what was that one called with the, like, 4-player one?
The Freedom Force or some force?
Yeah. Something like that. That it didn't have to be. It should be called something else. Probably.
It really should have.
It would have been a fine game. I heard it was like a fine game. It's just that it wasn't a Metroid game.
Yeah. Yeah. I would say I would be okay with the game being the Metroid 2 remake and just finally having it come to the Switch where it should have released all along. But I don't want that. I played that game already. I want a new side-scrolling Metroid game. And I'm going to say we get something about one this year. It's time. They surprised me with Link's Awakening, and I'm hoping they'll surprise me in the same way this year with a new Metroid game in that vein. because I could see them coming out with that shit, man. Even if they did something really cool with Super Metroid, and I'm not quite sure what you would do, because I don't want them to go in the route that they did Super Metroid 2. I don't think polygonalizing everything is necessarily the way to go, but something just having a really cool, unique art style in the way that like Link's Awakening did, but obviously like clay cutesy doesn't really work for Super Metroid. But something like that I think would be really cool, even if it's just really well detailed sprites. I would be, pixel art I would be absolutely fine with. So I'm hoping / predicting that we'll see something like that this year. And that's kind of what I've got off the top of my head. Maybe something else will pop into my head while you're talking about stuff. But what do you got, Dominic?
All right, my predictions. I said that the next Smash character, or not, maybe not the next one, but at least the last 2 or 3 they got to do for this pack. I think one of them is going to be from the Zelda universe.
Okay.
I don't know who, but I'm just going to say like it's going to be maybe a Breath of the Wild character or something. That's going to be it. That's the only thing I had to pull out my ass on for that Smash. Because I can't really think of like who else.
Do we get a Master Chief, Dominic?
No.
I feel like they gave us Steve because they didn't want to give us Master Chief.
I think we'll get a Master Chief. You know what? Master Chief, Mii fighter.
Oh, okay.
The Mii shooter. What else we got here? We got I said the Switch Pro was going to be $350. But I didn't realize there was a price on that sheet that said $400. So I was like, I said $350. I said the current Switch will drop to $250, between $200, maybe either $200 $250. Probably $250.
It does feel like it's been long enough that we could see a price a drop in the Switch, definitely.
Or maybe they take it off the market and just say you gotta get a Switch Lite.
Yeah, I mean, I could also see them doing that too.
I said Overwatch 2 will be out in the spring.
Oh shit, Overwatch 2. I forgot about that one. I always forget about it, Dominic.
I also said no Dead Island and no Dying Light this year. Neither one.
It's heartbreaking, Dominic.
I said Naughty Dog announces their next project this year.
Do you think that would be a new thing, or are we going back to the Uncharted universe?
I think it's going to
go Jack and Daxter.
I think it's still going to be realistic. I think they're not going to do any more cartoons. They say they're going to leave that to Insomniac.
I mean, they do human beings extremely well, so it's hard. I think
we're going to see a Gears of War 6 preview, like a full-on trailer and gameplay this year. I also said Grand Theft Auto is going to be announced this year. It's Grand Theft Auto 6. I'm going to say it's not in the U.S. That's what I say. It's not in the U.S. I also said there will be a Battlefield 6 this year. And there will be an announcement for Titanfall 3.
Ooh. Now we're talking.
And that's what I have.
I like that. Oh, that's what I was trying to think of, the thing that I was thinking of while you were saying stuff.
Okay.
Do we get a baseball game from EA this year?
No baseball game.
Is that why you stopped predicting that one? You just don't believe it anymore?
Yeah. Just stop it. Yeah. Especially if MLB show's going third party, I think they don't want to compete. It's still competing.
Yeah.
Between companies. Hell, they barely put out NBA Live. Like, I don't even know what the hell. I'm going to predict that's not coming out this year either.
That's probably a smart prediction. That's going to be weird when MLB The Show actually starts rolling out on other consoles. Like, seeing that
better renege on
the
this.
Xbox.
I swear.
Already done.
I'll be going down to San Diego. Take him out. I'm going to storm there. I want to storm their building.
Oh, too soon. Too soon.
And poop in their holes.
I finally understand why people do this. They're just extremely angry.
Yeah. All right. I guess we get to both our anticipated games of this year. So games that we know that were announced for this year. They announced it for this year, and that we're really anticipating them. So, you want to go ahead?
Sure. So first up is Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury. It's a game that I missed out on not having the Wii U, and that's coming out relatively soon, so that's kind of a layup for me. It's like, I know it's coming out. I'm excited for it. I want to play that game. So that's there. Ratchet and Clank, A Rift Apart. It's probably my most anticipated for this year. Unfortunately, I don't have a PlayStation 5 at this time. And I expect that to see that relatively soon, too. I would expect to see that by May. So you can throw that in my predictions, too. It just, I really like those Ratchet and Clank games ever since I finally got into them on the PlayStation 3. I haven't been disappointed with one that I've played. Granted, that's because I didn't really play All for One, because that one sounded like that one was a little rough. But any of the mainline Ratchet and style playing games, I was all about. Psychonauts 2, that should absolutely be releasing this year. This time, it sounds like Tim Schafer's out there saying like they're pretty close to being done with it. So I'm excited about that one. Hollow Knight Silk Song, that is another one that probably should have come out last year, but it didn't, and we haven't heard a lot about it, but it's supposed to be coming out this year now. I still need to go back and finish Hollow Knight 1, but that was a surprise banger for me, basically. Like it's very much like Metroidvania style game, and it is a little tough. But between just the gameplay, it was very precise. It felt good, and I love the art style of it as well. Just the kind of hand drawn, simplistic, gothy bugs was a neat look. And I don't recall was this one officially 2021, Dominic, the God of War? Did they say that is for sure a thing?
I think that was a rumor, because I got it up here on my list too.
Okay.
Because it does sound like it. When I looked on Game Informer's list, it had it up there.
They had it on there.
2021.
Okay. Yeah, so I've got that on there. I mean, that last one was so good. And even if this ends up being like a Miles Morales style shorter experience, I'm all in for that. And like I said earlier, maybe if it's a shorter experience, I might be in for it even a little more, because I'm finding it hard to make the time sometimes to play video games. So, yeah. So what do you got, Dominic?
All right. So I got the Yakuza Remastered Collection.
Nice.
To play these older Yakuza games. Mm-hmm. These games like the 3, 4, 5, and maybe 6.
Yeah,
I don't know if that's part of the collection.
It's just 5. 3 through
okay.
5.
But I believe 6 is still coming, though, on the Xbox. It's just like going to be part of that collection.
I think you're right.
Yeah, and so, hey, it's going to be on Game Pass, so I'm all great. I'm gonna be playing it. But yeah, I want to play those games. I really like. I've really become a Yakuza fan. Become a Yakuza fan. Oh, look, is this a Die Hard commercial? No, Die Hard. Okay, he's doing a commercial for Die Hard batteries, and they're doing like all this action stuff.
Amazing.
That's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. All right, Back for Blood. I'm really looking forward to that game, because I love Left 4 Dead. Mm-hmm. So to finally play a game on the next generation, a game of that ilk from the same guys, it's great. It's been a long time coming, a very long time. I mean, the closest thing we got was like World War Z, but it's not quite the game. It's not quite that game. It has its problems. I hope Back to Blood is definitely better than that game. I mean, even though I see leveling up, but maybe it won't be that bad for me. Maybe it won't be that bad. I just don't want, just give me microtransactions or make them just be, cosmetic. Just make them be cosmetic at the most. Cause then I won't care that much. I'll be a little angry, but I won't be super angry. I'm also looking forward to the MLB The Show. Because I'm looking forward to finally play that on another console besides PlayStation. Hopefully it's on Xbox. Don't have to keep my PlayStation 4 on all the time. And so I already have my Xbox on all the time, so I want to just be playing that game.
Well, it's fine in the winter. It's when it's the summer and it's heating up. That's the problem.
Yeah, exactly. My friend, he's definitely looking forward to that because he wants to finally play a real baseball game with real people instead of, even though he does like, what's the baseball game called? That's the arcadey one that is on everything.
The RBI or the Super Mega Big Baseball.
Yeah, Super Mega. Yeah, he does like that one. But to finally play one with some real people, so he can actually know them because he don't watch baseball like that. So he can finally learn people names, know who's playing. Because that's really how he knows all the NBA names. He only watching all the games, but he been playing the NBA game and he learned them. And that's how I'm learning some of these guys' names too on football. Like I'm playing Madden, even though it's last year's Madden, but I got this year's roster up there because I downloaded it. And that's how I'm learning some of these Washington team players' names. Because I'm not even paying attention when I'm watching the games. I'm just say, hey, you tackle him and you score. And that's it, because I don't want to get too attached to you, because then you go do something off the field, and I'm like, oh, you sons of bitch. You son of a bitch. Why'd you do that? Why'd you hit that woman? But see, at least I'm not attached to you. I will be like, yeah, you got to get rid of him. I don't know him. I don't know what he is. Maybe he's a great player. But he has to go. All right. Horizon Forbidden West, I'm looking forward to.
Very nice.
And so I did like Horizon Zero Dawn. I know you didn't like it much, but I know you were wrong. You were wrong in your assessment of the game.
That's the thing is, like, I want to give that another chance. Like,
you gotta get it from me
on my list because what's that?
You gotta get it from me because is that a free game? That was a free game, right?
I don't remember.
Because because if you got the physical disc, gotta. I still gotta play the DLC, but the thing is, I kept saying I'm gonna have to play some of this game again because I playing that DLC. I don't remember the controls.
Yeah,
it's like I was really just like I don't know what to do. Also, God of War. I have God of War on my list. I also have Halo Infinite again. But this year, they say it's coming out this year. The launch of the Xbox Series X is coming out.
The true launch.
The true launch.
When I can actually buy one in the store.
And then I got one, which I do want, but I got to beat part 2, Shadow Warrior 3.
Nice.
Looking forward to that, but I want to complete 2 also. I did really enjoy 1. 1 was a very fun game. Very fun game. And yeah, that's my list.
Very nice.
So, I mean, if this Nintendo stuff is true, that's the only thing. If Nintendo's list is true, I am looking forward to Mario Odyssey 2. And I would put another game up here, but I don't know when it's coming out. Like Spellbrook, I don't know when that game's coming out.
Right.
So, I will be really looking forward to that also. And what else is on the Nintendo list I think I would have? I'm kind of looking forward to Persona 5 Strikers. I'm kind of looking forward to that because that is like a Dynasty Warriors-like game with Persona 5 characters. So, I can put that on the list. I'll put that on the list. And I was thinking about putting Scott Pilgrim, but it's coming out next week.
Yeah.
So, I didn't put that up there. And Baldo. Baldo is my other.
I'm back on the Baldo train.
Bayonetta 3, maybe? But nah, I still didn't pick. Well, I played both 1 and 2, but I never did pick it up because I was really thinking those games were going to come down in price, but I guess they're officially like Nintendo games.
Yeah.
Well, the second one, that is not going to come down in price. So I'm like, ridiculous. It's ridiculous at this game. I can't get this game for like $30.
Yeah, it's unnecessary.
All right. Yeah, so I guess that's it, man.
All right. Thank you guys as always for listening then. You can check us out on Twitter. Dominic is at DStalworth5. I'm at RegulusMB. The podcast is at SupaPod, SupaPod. SupaPod.com is the website. It's got links to all the places you can find us: iTunes, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube, where there's a video version of this that has gameplay usually going behind it of stuff that Dominic or I played. Until next time, guys. See you later.
All right, see you.